Ryan Ries. This is Live with Ryan Ries. Call now, 1-888-564-6173. Or post your questions using the hashtag #LiveRyanRies on his Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook.
What up, family? Saturday night, everyone's probably cruising out. You know, if you're on the freeways right now, it's probably jam-packed, and you're tuned in listening to the show. We have a very special guest. I have Lacey Sturm in the studio. You guys know her from, she was the front woman of Flyleaf for many years. And we have her husband, Josh Sturm, in the studio. And also, I have actually a surprise appearance by my wife, Crystal Reese, in the studio. Yeah. And Scott Salmon.
Yeah, just me, sorry.
And there's Scott.
And there I am, sorry.
Hey, tonight, you guys, we want you guys to call in. The number is 888-564-6173. 888-564-6173.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Everyone that's in here, we're very good friends. We've been to Israel and back. We've known each other for a long time. Crystal, I've known only for about a year and a half, and yeah. So
nice to meet you.
And I'm married. Nice to meet you. But tonight we're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and so many people have had horrible relationships and some good relationships, and I think everyone in this table right here in front of me have been to hell and back through relationships.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, is that correct, Scott?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Crystal? Okay, good. So if you're out there and you're listening, we're going to be talking about some heavy relationships. If you have questions, you could call in. Maybe you're in a bad relationship right now. Maybe you have a guy cheating on you or a girl cheating on you. Maybe you're dating someone that the way you look at life, they're going a different direction. Whatever it is, and you have questions and you need some answers, we'll do the best we can to help guide you in the right direction. But I'm just going to get into the nitty-gritty. Well, actually, we got to run through announcements first.
Yeah.
Let's run through those.
You guys, as we know, we have a special guest today, Lacey Sturm, and you guys, if you want to hear some of her latest music, she's coming out with they're working on a new CD right now, actually, a new album, a solo album. She's going to be playing live tomorrow night at CCGS, Calvary Chapel, Golden Springs. The first of our summer concert series is going to be tomorrow night at 6 p.m., So we want you guys to come out and check out, enjoy the fellowship, enjoy the music. Going to be a special message, some food trucks out there, and I'm sure she's going to be selling her brand new book, The Book of the Reason. So you guys got to check that out. So definitely want to check that out. Also, if any of you guys would like to watch this show live, you can watch it anywhere worldwide on ryan-reese.com. I never get that right, do I?
Nope. Never.
ryan-reese.com. And we are currently right now on 25 stations from Hawaii all the way to Florida. We are currently adding stations every day, and if you would like to have us out there and get us on your radio station, check us out, you guys. We'd love to have you guys be part of the show. Also, you guys, we're having the Israel trip coming up. Again, something you want to impact your life, the Israel trip. Pastor Raul is taking a group of people, a couple of buses, and he's allowing the whosoever's to take a bus along, and Ryan's going to lead that group out there. He's done it last year and the year before. It's going to be an insane trip. That is going to be April 5th through the 17th. If you'd like more information on that, you can contact us at info@thewhosoevers.com. And lastly but not least, my favorite, the Whosoevers is doing a high school tour called Kill the Noise, and it's going to be for the year 2015. Any of you guys out there, teachers, students, administrators, city officials, whatever, whoever you are, if you would like to impact a school campus and get the gospel out there and get kids literally transformed and saved, get us on those campuses. We want to hear from you. You can also contact us. And if you would like to donate or be a part of this ministry, you feel like, I really jive with the Whosoevers, and you don't know how to help out, you guys can do that. Anyway, we covered your prayers first and foremost, but second of all, if you would like to donate, you guys can do that online at our whosoevers.com/donate. So we really want you guys to be a part of our ministry. So that wraps it up.
Heck yeah. Well, let's get into the nitty gritty now. If you guys were wondering about Lacey's book and her video, you can go to my blog on my website, and we've actually posted a photo of it. There's a link to it, and there's a video, the one that she did with the Billy Graham Association called
My Hope.
My Hope. That song was ripping, too. I love that song.
No, that wasn't the name of the song.
What's it called?
There's Mercy Tree and The Reason.
Which one did we post?
It's the Mercy Tree.
Yeah, Mercy Tree.
I was very pregnant in that video.
You were very pregnant in that video, yeah.
Just putting yourself out there.
That was a fun video, but it was also
It was amazing that
a little exhausting.
Well, let's get, girls, I'm going to go for the girls first.
Yikes.
Let's get into the nitty gritty. Just out of the gates, we'll start with you, Lacey. Give me give me like a like a good 5-minute version of, or just a little snippet of like your relationships, you dating, basically you dating. Like how do those things go? How do those things work out?
I talk about in my book one of my first really serious relationships, how that kind of started. And the thing about the person was that they felt free to kind of not care what anybody thought when I was really afraid of like getting in trouble and stuff like that. I was just amazed at his rebellion, really, and how it seemed to be free, in a weird way. And so it kind of drew me to him. And then when we started talking, it felt very romantic in the way that we had a lot in common, and that he seemed to choose me when no one else seemed to choose me. You know what I mean? It felt like I was kind of in the way all the time. And to feel chosen is a really powerful thing. And so, it's interesting that if I had known that I was chosen earlier, it wouldn't have been such a life-giving, like my only life source, which it was, I think. And so, so like we talked about, I've talked to you about this before, about just really the difference between knowing that there's a God who makes you complete and that he created you to be whole in and of yourself, and not knowing that. The difference is just the difference between whether you're able to have a healthy relationship with somebody or whether you're going to make them out to be a god and them let you down and all of that. So, of course, he's just a 15-year-old boy who couldn't be a god for me, and of course we ended up, not working out, and that really broke everything I knew about what it meant to, because I was really in love with him. So afterwards, I didn't know I could be in love the same way. So I kind of just went with whatever I felt and was like, promiscuous and just very present-minded and not thinking about what was going to happen after, and not caring about feelings or what I was doing to my soul or my heart, and just really waking up sometimes and just feeling like, why do I feel like crap about everything in life right now? So. And
so it's safe to say that like you looked at these guys and you were just like, if I love this guy, if I just put everything into this guy, he's gonna make me feel secure. He's gonna make me feel happy. And then when that doesn't work out, you end up brokenhearted, at the end of yourself, just going out and trying to meet up with other guys.
Just like whatever. Just whatever temporary thing, because you're not going to put too much weight on it anymore. You're just going to be like, well, I don't know. You could be great. You could be awful. So let's just be present and just have fun and just not care about what's happening. And then, of course, you think that that's what you're doing, but in the end, it still affects your heart. It still feels like more of you is taken away. It feels more of like,
And it's interesting because even like with like the guys, a lot of the guys' point of view, and I don't want to speak for all guys, but a lot of guys are just there to have a good time. And meanwhile, the girls are like, I'm attracted to this guy, I want to be with this guy, and some of the guys are just like, I'm just here and I'm out. Like,
yeah, and like with a girl, you want to be, for some reason, we feel like we're empowered when we can be more like a guy, when really we're really saying to ourselves, we're all about feminism when we can be like a guy. Why is that feminine? Why is it feminine to be like a guy? I don't know. But somehow like our feminist mentality is like, oh yeah, I'm not going to be emotionally attached to this. Yeah, I'm just going to use you now. And the truth is, we think that that's what but in the end, we don't really want that. And maybe even, I think girls can sort of emotionally, the way that a guy would maybe physically use a girl, that a girl would emotionally use a guy to kind of just meet her needs emotionally, when really she doesn't want commitment with him either. So it's just as bad and even worse sometimes. I mean, depending on the situation, for how we respond to being let down by whoever we expected to be a god for us. It didn't work out, Yeah.
What about you? Crystal? Let's move to you. Speak in the mic, please. So tell us about your relationships growing up. How'd it go?
Well, I'll make this short because
that's wise.
And
She's the wise one here.
No, everything, Lacey, that you said, I totally agree with. And you really summed it up, how we make, when we're younger, we make some of these men like our gods, and we're obsessed with this idea of love. But at that age, do we really know what love even is? And so as we get older and we see what the media shows us of what love should be, which is just totally upside down and incorrect, we pieces of our heart, kind of fall on the floor of every experience that takes place in our lives. And when we finally meet our husbands, we come very broken, I think, a lot of the times. And so it's, just from what you said, I like I said, I totally agree with it. And I've been in a lot of, let's say, interesting relationships. You name it, I've probably been in them. I'm 31, and Ryan and I just got married a year and a half ago. So I definitely have some stories and a lot of lessons, but it's only made me a better person and exactly where I'm meant to be right now. So.
Yeah, if you're listening, this is Live with Ryan Ries. The number is 888-564-6173 if you want to call in with any questions. 888-564-6173. So, Lacey, you had those relationships, and then what was a relationship where it all worked out, where you realized it was God? Or was it you weren't making a man God? Like, what was that? When did you have that revelation?
Wow. I'm still trying to do
having
that.
it?
Yeah, I'm still trying to make sure that that's not
When
what
you
I
started
do.
dating after you found God, let's say
It's
that.
funny because when I started dating after I found God, I don't think I learned. I was actually married when I was 18 and divorced when I was 21, and I married this guy that is an amazing man. He's really funny. He's handsome. He's she's like, yeah, I like all this
What
stuff.
else is it?
I'm saying all this because it was bad. I mean, like, for some reason, for me, that in love piece, I didn't think that I could be in love because my heart was broken by some other guy. Like, when I became a Christian, I fell in love with this guy, and he led me on in a way that he was like an older guy. He was really nice to people. He's kind of like a pastor kind of guy. And so, and then I never thought I would talk to him about liking him, but he would talk to me like for 3 hours at a time on the phone and come get me every time I needed a ride. And so I kind of thought he maybe knew, but I was never talk about romance because I wasn't ready to get married and I didn't know how to have a pure relationship with a guy. So I was like, well, I'll just wait until I'm at least old enough to get married, and then maybe I'll tell him that I like him. And then it was time for prom, and I asked him to go to prom, and he's like, I don't like you that way. And I was like, oh. And that was the first time I was suicidal since I became a Christian.
So, okay, so you became suicidal after that
So that
situation.
actually proves that I was putting too much weight on him already,
And that's so common. I'm telling you right now, I can't tell you how many young people I talk to that are in these situations that put their man, if it's a girl, put their man, or a girl, put their man, whatever, you know what I mean? If the opposite sex in front of them and making that everything. And then what happens is people let people down, and once they let them down, then they turn suicidal. And this is what happened to you. So how did that work out?
Well, in the end, I had hope. I had this understanding, well, God did save me from this before, and he does have a purpose for my life. And I don't know what it is, but I guess my in love, whatever thing, that's broken. I don't know how to be, I don't think I'll ever be in love. And then when this other guy started to pursue me, there was no reason for me. So I had made a vow in my heart, I'm never going to hurt somebody the way he hurt me. And so when this guy began to pursue me and he began to fall in love with me, I was really kind to him and I liked him as a person, but I didn't feel like I could be in love with him or anybody. And so I was still wounded. And then, he tells me he's in love with me, and I don't know how to tell him I don't feel that way about him because I don't want to hurt him the way I was hurt. And the Bible says that the way we judge, we make these inner vows, and we say, I'm never going to do that to somebody. And then we end up doing something worse or going to the opposite extreme. So, like, say your dad beat your mom, and so you say, I'm never going to beat my wife, or so you never actually share anything with her that's controversial at all. And then she's just abusive to you, and you never stand up for anything. And you know what I mean? Like, so I'm not saying that happens all the time. I'm just saying that's kind of the way it seems like it can go when we make that inner vow. So what happened with this situation is I'm never going to break somebody's heart. So I'm just going to go with this. And I was just like, I love you too. But I didn't mean in my own head, I'm not lying to him, because I do love him as a person, and I don't think I can be in love. And then he kind of pursued me in a way that was like all guys outside of, I knew how to make out. I was not a Christian before that, and I didn't think Christian guys did that. But apparently he did,
Yeah.
and so we ended up, sleeping together before we got married, and then I thought, now I have to marry him, and there's no way out of this, which was not true, because I could have asked God to forgive me, and I could have asked him to help me be honest with him, But I was committed when I got married. I was committed. I said, well, I'm just going to love him. I'm going to choose to love him, which is a really mature thing to do when you understand all the other elements better than I did. But I was like, I'm going to choose to love him. Well, when we got into the marriage, he didn't, we were young. I mean, I was 18, he was 19, and we just wanted to do what we thought was the right thing, because we were sleeping together. It's kind of I hate when people use that verse about it's better to marry than to burn, and that's the only reason they get married. Because I remember afterwards, I asked this lady asked me, why'd you get married so young? And I said, well, we slept together, and I just thought we should get married. And she was like, well, did you ask forgiveness? And I was like, no, we got married. And she was like, we don't think that. I mean, don't you need forgiveness? Yeah. So it was an interesting thing to say to me, because I had never thought of it. Oh, can I ask forgiveness? Yeah. So then in our marriage, we kind of had this basis of not having self-control. I didn't have self-control emotionally. He didn't have self-control physically. So he had, his own issues, and I had my own issues. And, I want to respect him, and I haven't talked to him about what I can share, so it ended up not working out in the end. And those same issues that I didn't get healed in me followed me in every other relationship I was in, so I thought the next one would be better for whatever reason, but it was exactly the same issues with me and with them, and it continued in every relationship. I needed to know that God is my source. And I remember asking somebody when I finally was free and I'm going to make Jesus my husband. I'm not going to get married. I remember asking when I finally realized God was calling me to marry Josh, and I was excited but also nervous. I'm like, how do I not make you into a god and ruin all this? And nobody could give me a good answer.
Easy to do. It is.
Yeah, nobody could give me a good answer. And then finally somebody says to me, well, you've made them into she said, well, I know I'm starting to put my husband in the wrong place whenever I start to get angry with him and complain a lot, and and I realized, I'm expecting him to be what only God can be for me. And I'm like, oh, it makes so much sense, because somebody would say, oh, you can't love him too much, but it's really not, oh, I loved him so much that, I made him an idol. No, it's I expected him to be a God, and so I'm yelling about how he's not God.
How he's not perfect?
Yeah.
How he's not perfect.
I have such a better understanding of this now. I'm like, yes, I understand now.
It's so true. It's so true.
That's cool.
Yeah, this is what my book is about. I'm writing right now.
Yeah, what's that book called?
I'm pretty sure it's called The Mystery right now.
Okay. Awesome, that's coming.
That's a good one.
What about you, Crystal?
Uh-oh.
Me again.
Okay, yeah. Well, so you were dating a bunch of guys, or not a bunch of guys, but you were dating, and you weren't dating guys that were Christians. What was the difference when you found someone that was?
Oh, okay. Well, I was raised Catholic, and so I didn't fully understand what I believed, really. Just to kind of make that blanket statement.
You're religious.
I was religious. I went to church, and I thought being good was all that God needed. So, I lived my life through my career. I guess you could say that was my idol for sure. And after I got treated badly by a few guys that I dated, I just thought, what? I just want to be really top position in my industry, and that's what I'm going to focus on. So I kind of switched gears, and I just didn't care so much about wanting the relationship route. But I stumbled upon a nice young man, and we got married young. I was 21. We were both 21, and he was from a Southern Baptist family, and so I was like, great, he's not going to cheat on me. he's going to treat me good. Let's get married. And those are obviously the wrong reasons to get married to someone. So that ended 3 years later. And, I had always been looking for a godly man. I just never knew that was a trait that I was trying to find until I met Ryan. I mean, Ryan stood for a lot of things. He had values, and he respected me. He didn't want to,
I didn't want to sleep with you.
He didn't want to sleep with me.
That's a lie.
And
That's a lie. He did. He's just waiting.
Well, he did. I mean, yeah, and he didn't want to kiss me. He didn't want to hold my hand, and I was just like, this guy is such a weirdo. Like, why doesn't he? Like, I mean, I had to have a conversation when I was in New York working. I finally got the courage late one night to give Ryan a call and just call him out and be like, do you even like me? It's been like, 2 months, and you haven't even asked me on a date, and what's going on? Do you know, is there someone else? And he was like, whoa there, lady.
Whoa there, Turbo, relax.
Just chill out. I'm just trying to get to know you. And that to me was so foreign. A guy that just wanted to get to know me, for me, not, for sex or just to get to know who I truly was. And so that's when I first really felt like, oh my gosh, like this is a guy that I could, like, that really wants to spend the rest of his life with me for the right reasons. And so I think that was, I mean, really, Ryan, you were my first and only, like, real, Christian dating relationship.
Because when I met you, I met you at church, and you basically, you were going to church, but you didn't have that relationship with God. So you were just dating like everyone else would date. And then after I saw that, so I just kind of like gave you some books and got you plugged in. And then I seen you fall in love with Jesus, and I seen how you started transforming, and I seen the fruit of your life. Like, I seen the Christian life coming out of you. So that's when we started dating, and you were still like, okay, how does this whole thing work? So it was interesting. And that was hard for me too. And we're going to get into the guys now, Josh. Let's let it rip. No. But for me, though, you were the first girl I dated as a Christian. I hung out with a couple other girls, but you were one that I actually was like, dude, I would tell my parents, I'm like, I think I'm going to marry this chick. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, I think so. And it was just right out of the gate. It's just so like within the first like month or something. And, but I was like, this is the first time I was dating as a Christian. And I know my past life, just like all of our sitting here, I'm like, I could end up in a situation very easily having sex with this girl. And I'm like, there's no way. Like, I've been set apart for 6 years, not sleeping with any girls, not dating, waiting for God to bring the right girl. And now you're here, and I'm fully attracted to you. And it was crazy to date as a Christian.
Was it so romantic though? Like in some ways, like deeply romantic. I noticed that too with Josh and I. Like, oh my gosh, he's sitting next. His hand touched mine. Like, it was weird. It brought
There's
you
actual
back.
subtlety.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
I feel like you're back
Please
in 6th grade.
talk about it better.
Let's go over to Josh now.
What's the question?
So the question is
about dating relationships.
about dating relationships.
Well, I think it's interesting, sort of what Crystal said about the first time she's like, oh, I met a Christian man. Like, this is a legit Christian relationship. I'm going to try to do this the right way. And kind of the struggles of, okay, I've screwed up in the past. I've been in bad relationships. I've been in just all these different things. In my past, I only had like 2 serious girlfriends, you know what I mean? But the one I dated for 5 years, and it was sort of like a marriage, you know what I mean? The way that we were, and it looked like we were going to get married, and we were just doing all the wrong things, and it just, I learned a lot of lessons in that. And so when it came time that I feel like I started taking dating seriously and just having a deeper relationship with God, that I was actually feeling convictions like, okay, you're not supposed to do these things with girls. I need to do this a certain way. I just remember it was just such a difficult thing to finally meet this girl and start talking to her, and be like, okay, this is it. This is a Christian relationship, and this is how it's supposed to be. And I'm like thinking to myself, this is kind of boring. I'm like, it was a lot more fun when I was in other relationships, but I guess this is how it's supposed to be. And I dated her for a year. I'm not going to say her name, but I dated for a year, and I'm like, well, I'm in my late 20s. I guess I probably should get married to this girl, and maybe this is my life. And it was boring is what it was. But I was just thinking, okay, well, this is what a Christian relationship is. And so thankfully I didn't end up marrying her. but it was just an interesting thing. Like I said, it worked out for you because you met Ryan, who's the bomb, you know, and he's a great guy, and you guys are meant to be. But for me, I just met a Christian girl. We weren't meant to be, but I almost confused it with, okay, well, this is probably what I'm supposed to.
It's probably just supposed to be boring, but really you weren't compatible in that way.
Exactly.
Right, so you just thought, oh, it's Christian, so I guess it's just supposed to be boring because this is what Christian relationships are like.
Yeah, they're not at all.
Which isn't true at all. If anyone is going through that, don't worry, you don't have to settle.
If you're not,
It should be fun, a lot of fun.
If you're two Christians or if you're not dating a Christian, I mean, you're just plan on chaos. If you're dating a non-Christian person that's not a Christian that doesn't have those views, think about chaos. I mean, I had tons of chaos relationships. I mean, you know, you're sleeping together, all of a sudden she gets pregnant. Now what? You have a kid. What what do you do? Go abort the kid or morning after pill? Or
we have that old school mentality, like, oh, I got to do the right thing. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean just because you fell into sin, you should automatically get married.
I don't think that's it. Yeah. I've seen so many people.
Yeah.
Thank you. Somebody say that out loud.
I see so many people, like, if these guys get pregnant or whatever.
Yes.
Oh yeah, just old school. Just go get married. Make it right.
Make it
That's
right.
what I
Two
thought.
wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah.
First of all,
True.
two wrongs don't make a
Ask
right.
forgiveness,
Ask forgiveness. That's number one.
which I forgot about for some reason. How weird is that?
I'll probably get some slack for saying that, but
No.
Hey, we got tons of calls, you guys. I know we're going to be going to break here soon, but the phone lines are literally lit up from all across the United States. Let's take this. How much time do we have, you guys? Okay, we're going to take this call right now. Josh, how you doing? From Rockville, Maryland.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, buddy? How you doing? What's your question?
I'm doing good. I have a question for Lacey. I'm really familiar with the story. It really changed my life, and my question is just that to do specifically with the area of cutting. And my question was that for a person that's already done it, how can it be easy to stop, and how can someone get to the point of stopping?
Well, I think for what I understand is that it's just like it's addictive, like anything that's addictive. I mean, adrenalines are, released. You get addicted to that feeling, that rush, and you just want it, like any addiction. And, God can deliver you immediately, but sometimes it is a process because of whatever He wants to show you and whatever He's calling you to do later on. Like, I know that sometimes when you're wrestling with a certain issue, you get to see it closer than other people do because it'll help you know even more how to overcome it and help other people. So one of the ways it's really important is having people that, like there's the Hope Line you can call. There's something called the Hope Line. There's people, you guys have a line too, right?
Yeah, we have an 800 number too, but Hope Line we work with as well. So,
and to have those numbers where I'm gonna have these people like in my phone. I know I can call them and have them help and pray for me. Prayer is a huge thing. It's not just this kind of religious, I'm just gonna meditate on this good thing, and it's a powerful reality that you can talk to God just like you're talking to me. You can even ask Him that question and just sit still and just see if like anything comes into your heart, just comes into your mind. So I think for me, whenever I would be suicidal or want to do something like that, I would write on my arm personally, and I would say this verse: your body is not your own. You were bought. Your life's not your own. You were bought with a price. Your body's a temple. And that helped me personally. I did that every day. Some days I did it every single day. Your life's not your own. You were bought with a price. I was bought with the blood of Jesus. So I owe Him my life, and my body belongs to Him. It's a temple for His Holy Spirit. So that helped me personally, but everybody's reasons are different. And so, I think that calling somebody to help is important, and prayer is important.
Do you, Josh, hear any voices telling you to cut? Anything like that?
No. I think the one time I had done it was the point where I just got to a point where I just...
All right, Josh, we're going to break right now. Why don't you hold on? We're going to pick up the call after break.
More Live with Ryan Ries coming up.
Is everything all right?
Call now 1-888-564-6173 or post your questions using the hashtag Live Ryan Ries on his Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook.
I think I speak for the entire administration when I say whoop-de-doo.
Now, back to Live with Ryan Ries. Don't say we didn't warn you. Loud noises!
What's up? We're back from the break. I have Lacey Sturm in studio with her husband, Josh. They are actually going to be at our CCGS, Calvary Chapel, Golden Springs, doing a concert tomorrow at 6 p.m. If you guys are in the area, come on down. I have my wife, Crystal Reese, and Scott Selman. We've been just talking about relationships and just life struggles and issues. And if you have any questions, maybe you're struggling with some issues from addiction to maybe relationships to from cutting to suicide, alcohol abuse, anything like that, or more anger, bitterness, anything, just call in. The number is 888-564-6173. A lot of us have been to hell and back in our lives, and we now have a relationship with Christ, and we will just we'll give you what he's given us to help you overcome that stuff. So we're going to go back right now. We had Josh on the phone. Josh, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. So when I was leaving the break, I was asking you, when you get thoughts to cut, do you hear voices or anything like that?
I don't hear voices, and the only time I had really done it in the past was when I was really at a low point in my life, and I had so much going on negatively towards me, and I just went inside myself, and I just shut other people out, and I shut God out at a point, and at that point, I just broke down, and I just I had never done it before, and I guess at that point when I did it, I didn't know what to do, and I was shaking, I was trembling, I was crying, and I just cut a small X in my arm, I don't know what I was symbolizing or what I was doing, but it was just a sad moment for me. And right after I had done it, I just broke down crying because I knew I didn't have to do it. I knew that God had already loved me enough, and that He placed a sacrifice for me that I didn't have to do that. And what Lacey had already said was very helpful. And I guess the reason I had asked was that I had several thoughts about it already. Even if I hadn't done it since that one time, there have been thoughts. Even if I just get sad for a little bit, or if I'm down on my luck, or
This is that's what I was asking you, is because basically I met with a number of different people that actually cut, and I met with a girl that was 15 years old. She grew up in the church. She never touched a drug or anything in her life, and she was hearing voices that are saying you're ugly, cut, and she was thinking about cutting. And then there was other girls that I met with that were actually cutters, but we know that the enemy, he's a liar, he's a deceiver. He likes to get us alone, just like you were saying that you were pushing everyone out of your life and you were just staying what's it called? Isolated. He wants to get you alone so he could play those mind games on you. He's the king of mind games.
Right.
Because the end goal is he hates God's creation, and what he wants to do is he wants you to take your life.
Right.
And that's his whole goal. But dude, get down and dirty. Like, start praying. Pray to God, because there's power in prayer, like Lacey was saying earlier. Pray without ceasing, and just call out to God. Say, God, this is where I'm at in my life. Anyone that's even listening right now, that's maybe you are suicidal. Maybe you've been through some crazy relationships. Maybe you are hearing voices, or maybe you're just feeling this oppressed to cut yourself, and depression, all these things. This is all from the evil one. Call out to God. In James it says, draw near to God and he will draw near to you. But the first thing you got to do is you just got to basically just repent. And repent is it's a word that just basically means saying, God, I don't want to live this life anymore, this direction I'm going. I want to actually change directions. I want to do a 180 and go the opposite direction. So come into my life, forgive me for my sins, and start working out these details in my life. And get surrounded by a solid crew of people. Like, I got Scott here. He's one of my good friends. Sean McKeon. And I have these people in my life. So when I do start going down, feeling kind of depressed, because we all do, life's crazy. Mm-hmm. I reach out to these guys, and they build me up in the most holy faith, man. We love you, dude, and we'll be praying for you. Yep. Let's go ahead and take
Brittany.
Where's Brittany at? Oh, yeah, there she is.
Sorry.
Hello, Brittany. How you doing, Brittany?
Hi.
You're listening to Live.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Good. How you doing? What's your question?
My question is, you guys have this amazing way of relating and comparing your relationship with Jesus to your marriage with Joshua, Lacey, in your songs and stuff. So I was wondering if you had any songs like that on the record that you're working on right now.
Yes, but I don't want to talk about that one. I want to talk about the one that says, that's called "Brittany is my favorite person in the world and I'm her biggest fan." It's funny. I'm just joking. This is, in case you guys don't know who this is,
yes.
This is Brittany, who I dedicated The Reason to.
Oh, really?
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
And she's been a Flyleaf fan since really early on. It was so funny. I love her story. I'm going to evade your question. Yes, we do, by the way. We have Faith, which you probably heard that one.
What about the lyrics you wrote this morning, right before we got here?
There's another song I wrote with Corey Cooper called, well, we're changing the name of it, but originally it feels like Forever. And I did an interview with her about her marriage and her commitment with John, and it was really beautiful. It makes me cry when I listen to it, but it's inspired by that. Me and her wrote the music together as well, so there's that. But then I was going to talk about your story because it's so good. Can I?
Okay.
Am I? So Brittany was not a Christian, right? When you first started listening to Flyleaf?
Yes.
And why don't you tell a little bit about it? Can you tell?
Oh, you're going to put me on the spot. Right. Well,
Go for it.
gosh. Okay, well, I was about, 15, 16, and I hated everybody. It's kind of similar to Lacey's story a little bit.
I was going to say.
I hated Christians because they didn't relate to me. I didn't know what they were about, and I had a lot of trouble at home, and it was awful, and my parents divorced. My daddy, hit us a lot, and it was terrible, and my life was kind of crappy. And then I kind of discovered this awesome magical music, and I didn't know what was happening to me when I listened to it. I really didn't, and it was amazing. And the more I listened, the more I studied, I found out that, this guy Jesus was behind it. They kind of, I don't know, they subtly lifted their pom-poms for
Well, what she said, I remember one time she said, she said to me, or she was on the Flyleaf boards, and she was like, all these Christians were talking crap to her.
Really?
And she was like,
Yeah.
some of these people are
Christians tear people apart. It's crazy.
What's wrong? So then, so she's like,
and this girl's not even a Christian.
She's like, for some reason, she's like, I don't know about all this crap you guys are saying, but for some reason, and I don't even know why I'm an atheist. This is when they started, because she said she was an atheist.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm an atheist, but for some reason, my favorite Flyleaf songs are the ones that talk most overtly about God. And she's like, and I don't know what it means, but I'm reading the Bible for myself now to find out what it says, and I still don't know what I believe, but at least I'm reading for myself. And so anyway, I thought that was really powerful, because now she
Dude, that's amazing, so cool. Especially with all these people coming against you.
Yeah.
It's,
I mean, yeah, it sucks. I mean, I had a lot of people emailing me, and they're like, why do you run a Flyleaf fan site? You don't even know about them.
So it's the devil talking to you.
Is that crazy? They're Christians, and they're telling this atheist, why are you coming here to listen to Flyleaf? You don't even know what they're about.
Oh.
When, in actuality, they're about Jesus, and Jesus is about actually reaching the sinners.
Or the people who don't know him.
The people don't, I mean, this just people that are not in tune with God.
Yeah.
It's crazy, It's crazy how things are so backwards these days.
Wow.
I mean, think about the Jesus ministry.
Yeah.
The Jesus ministry was so messy. Mm-hmm. I mean, he had the religious people saying, dude, this guy, why is he out here eating bread with these guys? Why is he touching these people? Mm-hmm. Why is he, only if Jesus knew who these people were, why he wouldn't be with these people?
I remember one time this guy came up to me and he was telling me, he's in another band that they're not believers, and they're pretty sleazy when they talk, and sometimes, but we were friends or whatever, and he came up to me and he goes, man, this chick told me that she was dancing, she was stripping to your songs, and she loves your band so much. And he was like, he said, I told her, I don't think you should be stripping to those songs. I mean, do you know those people? And I was like, no, don't tell her not to, because that's where we want to go. We want our music in there. We want it stuck in her head.
Absolutely.
We want her to know she's loved.
I love that story. It's true. Because you know what? Even though she's swinging from a pole, undressing, basically, dude, your lyrics are straight about God.
That's
and
so cool.
She's listening to that song over and over, and when she goes home, those lyrics get stuck in your head, Scott?
Yeah.
Dude,
totally.
you get home and all of a sudden she's like, she's singing the All Around Me song, thinking like, you're singing about the Holy Spirit and speaking in tongues of the whole thing, like.
She's thinking about God as she's counting her $1 bills. That's crazy. That's crazy.
We went past the strip club on the way here, and Josh was in the car, and every time I go past the strip club, I always pray for the girls in there, because they suffer with depression, suicide, and addiction, and just being beaten in relationships.
We have a few in our ministry like that, for sure.
And so I always pray for when I go by, and I was praying, and my son caught me, and he's like, why are you praying for them? Why are you praying for that? What is that place? And I was like, well, what do we tell them? We say, well, it's a place where girls are that they don't always know that God loves them, and so we're praying. And he's like, I want to pray for them too. And
That's
so he's
awesome.
like, Jesus, I pray that all the girls would know Jesus and that you love them. And I was like,
And there it is.
That's so cool.
I was like, thank you, God.
That's so sweet. And how old's your
Hey,
son?
Brittany.
He's 4.
We're gonna let you go. We're gonna take some more calls. We have a bunch coming
Thanks, Brittany.
Thanks, Brittany.
Take care, Brittany.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna go ahead and take this one right here. Let me see.
Texas.
This one right here. Where's the
Yeah.
Texas? Here we go.
Oh,
Ashton?
just go for the joke.
Hello, Ashton. How you doing?
I'm good. How are y'all?
We're doing good. What's your question?
I'm a new Christian, and I often find myself questioning my sexuality. Where does that fall in being a Christian?
Yeah. Personally, it's a really tough question right now, because there's all kind of people on every kind of side that you can think of that are saying all kinds of things, and we don't want to get in a place where we're arguing with everybody, but what we do want to, I think the most important thing is that God does have something to say about sexuality, and what you should pursue whenever you are thinking those questions is you should pursue your Father, your Heavenly Father, because He really does care about all the roots of why you have those questions, and He's really the only one who can get to the roots of why because everybody has a different root for why they have those questions.
Yeah.
But He loves you so much, and he has something so, he has a reason for your sexuality. He has a reason for the way you feel, the reasons you feel the way you do. And sometimes it's just to highlight things that are wrong in our lives. Sometimes it's to highlight things that are wounded and need healing. Sometimes it's to show us where we need to go and minister and love people. You know, sometimes I remember this one time, this girl goes, she was going into a country, and she was like, she all of a sudden, when she landed in that country, she started thinking, I want to have an affair, and I don't even know why, you know.
Whoa, that's crazy.
And she was like, she called her husband, she's like, babe, something weird spiritually is happening because I want to have an affair, and that's just a weird thought. And he's like, hun, you're discerning what's going on in that country and what's going on in that place. Sometimes you just have discernment about what's going on around you, and it's time to pray and just press into God and be like, God, what's going on here, and what do you want? How do you want me to respond to this? I don't know.
I've had Scott, you could feed in this too if you want.
Yeah, sure.
But I had a girl that actually was coming to our church. She was actually married, and she's young. She's had to be like, I don't know, 24 maybe, 20, 25, 24. She was married, and she was coming to our church, and one of her friends brought her, and she came up to me after I seen her. She looked kind of like, she dressed like a dude. So I walked up to her and said, hey, what's going on? I knew that she was, involved. She was a lesbian or something. And I just walked up to her and said, hey, how you doing? Welcome here. And she's, oh, cool. And, she pulls me inside. She goes, hey, she goes, I'm married right now and this and that. I go, that's cool. I go, look at it. I just want you to keep coming to church and just fall in love with Jesus. Just come learn about Jesus.
Yeah.
That's all I want you to do. And then all of a sudden, like a couple months later, she was getting a divorce. And then she's like, Ryan, she's like, I don't like men. Okay, I don't like men. So, and I go, that's the least of your worries.
Seriously.
I go, just keep coming and keep falling in love with Jesus. And God supernaturally, because that's what he does. He works in our life supernaturally. He started working in our life over a course of months. And God just kind of, she's not dating the guy right now, but she's in love with Jesus. She's divorced. She's single. And she's on that journey. And, maybe later on in life, maybe a year from now, she might change her, might like guys or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Right now, she's in love with Jesus, and God does the work.
Yeah.
So I would say to you, just press into God. Go for it.
I also think, too, one of the things that you have to remember is that, the Bible is really, the Bible is really a standard for where we find our answers about that we have questions for.
Absolutely.
And if you go honestly with open hands and be like, God, give me clarity, speak to me personally. I just want to know what your truth is. And as you do that, just keep don't think about so much, because there's reasonable ways to defend that. And there's reasonable ways to not. And so what you need to do, like, very, very clearly is just press in and be like, because, like, the truth is if God does call you to marriage or call you into not have, to not being single or whatever, then if you have the faith for him to lead you in that, he will. And so what I would say is, personally, is, because we could fall in love with somebody no matter what. I mean, you can fall in somebody who's married. You can fall in love with somebody who's the same sex or the opposite sex, and they're not a Christian, or they are a Christian, they're just not the right person. So really, our sexual drives and impulses don't tell us what the truth is. Our ability to fall in love doesn't tell us what the truth is either. What we need to figure out is what is the truth that God is the most healthy thing for my spirit, my soul, my body, my future, what God's calling me to.
Yeah, I think just tagging off that real quick is finding your identity in Christ. If you're a new believer, that's such a huge thing, is not, shedding off the past of what the world identified you, or even in your own head. And I would just encourage you to just search for who you are in Christ and let him define those things.
Yeah. There's a couple people that I could think of right off the top that I've actually talked to that are struggling with, what do I like, men or do I like women? And there was a guy that I know that he's a man and he struggles with his sexuality, if he likes men or women. And as we started digging into it, we realized that he was being molested from a young age. So basically, he was sleeping with men from the time he was sleeping with a grown man from the time he was 6 years old till he was 10 years old. So now, him growing up, he knew, okay, I should like girls. That's what everyone, that's what I'm supposed to do. But then later on in life, he started struggling with these his past.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that do struggle with their sexuality because of them, being molested at a young age. I mean, I even talked to one kid that was 14 years old that grew up in church, and he was watching pornography from a young age, and the progression of porn, because it goes from like Playboy to like Hustler to to X-rated, XXX, and then multiple. It gets crazy after that, right? Well, this kid, basically, because the progression of pornography, just like the progression of sin, was a kid growing up in the church, straight, but he started watching porn, and it eventually led him into gay porn, and basically now he's like, I'm gay. He's like, I don't even like girls anymore.
Well, that's not an identity. Like, to me, I feel like if we identify ourselves by our sexuality, then we can say, I would tell you, I randomly have sexual impulses for this person or this person or this thing or this whatever. Then that's not an identity, though.
No.
Like, our identity, what Josh was saying, is that as a new Christian, your identity is you're a daughter of the King of Heaven.
Yeah.
Your life here, your sexual life here, is really short. And so you don't want to spend your life pursuing your sexual impulses because that's going to end really quickly. So what you want to pursue is the health of your soul, the health of your spirit, because that's eternal,
Okay, cool. We're going to go ahead and thank you for calling. We're going to go ahead and take Bobby.
From Azusa.
Right here.
It's from my hometown, man.
Bobby from Azusa. How you doing, sir? What's your question?
Awesome. Yes. Just want to say thank you for your program. It's a blessing, and God's going to continue to bless you guys. Well, anyways, Ryan, my question is this: is that I was engaged for 4 years with my fiance, and we actually in the beginning fell into sexual sin, and as of tonight, she ended the relationship with us, and my question is, Ryan, is a little hard right now. I just wanted to know what I should do from here, as far as do I continue to pursue her, and what should I do as I'm a Christian. I guess you really can't say too much. I'm a Christian, but I backslid, and what can I do? What should I do as far as
Hey, Bobby.
for me, right?
Bobby, you slipped up. That's all. You made a mistake, okay? And one of the things that we notice when we make a mistake is the first thing, and I think Lacey hit on it a lot, and so did Josh. Press into the Lord. What happened to you, the separation between you two, is a result of you guys falling into flesh. You got your eyes off Jesus and put your eyes on each other, and it led into this sexual thing that was supposed to be saved for when you got married, obviously. And I'm not going to stand here and be a hypocrite and say that never happened to me back in the day, but what I've learned is, and since I've been a Christian, is I realize that every mistake that we make is a step forward in our walk with God, because we learn from those things. And if you've noticed that every time you have a mistake, you look back and there's going to be somebody behind you that you're going to be able to lift up and say, hey, this is how God got me through this. So what I want to encourage you in this, Bobby, is this: 4 years is a long time to invest into somebody, right? But if you're not more invested in Jesus than you are with this girl, then both of you don't belong with each other anyway. And this separation was from God directly, indirectly. Does that make sense? So what I would do during this time of separation is just, like they said, press into God, get so in love with Jesus that when she sees you, like, hey, we made a mistake, but I see God in you, and he can make anything new. And if this is what God wants, he might restore it. And if not, then he's got something better for both of you, and you definitely want his good and perfect will, right?
Cool. Thanks for calling, man. We're going to go ahead and take, we only have a few minutes left. I'm going to jump on this one right here. David from Oceanside. How you doing, David, and what's your question?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey. Good.
Hey, mine's a little similar to Bobby's just now, but I have been dating this girl. We had met in a college group, and been dating this girl for 14 months. And so my question is, if a guy needs to become more independent, even though he's still responsible, but needs to just get out on his own a little bit more, why? And both those people desire to be married and have been moving towards that direction, why would there need to be separation of a relationship in order for that guy to become independent, more independent?
Is one of the people in the relationship saying that there needs to be separation?
Yes. The relationship is separated.
Was that what her suggestion was, that you two should be separated while you become more independent? Is that what she's saying?
Correct.
That could be read so many different ways.
Yeah,
I mean,
and the causes could be all kind of things.
Yeah. Where's she at with the Lord? I guess that would be my first thing. Because some people use, we need to separate so that we can see God, and then they're off doing their own thing. So you really can't tell unless you really know. But like you said, you've been dating this girl. Just like we said to Bobby, take this time of separation to seek the Lord, and if it's His will, He's going to show you. I mean, He's not going to. God doesn't play games. I can tell you that right now. He's going to show you beyond a shadow of a doubt what you're supposed to do.
I think even on a practical level, it could be the same thing said for marriage and also for having kids. There is no right time where you're like, okay, I'm ready to be married now. I'm definitely ready for this, or I'm definitely ready to have a kid. A lot of times it happens when you're not ready, and so some of that could be a control issue or worries in that way.
Yeah, and I don't know. If you guys have been together for 14 months, then you have a lot of emotional connection that is going to be really difficult to walk away. And maybe it's important, who knows, it could be important for you guys to learn that you're okay on your own with just you and your relationship with God, that you're a whole person on your own. And then after you know that, then you're able to help one another instead of put all that weight on each other, because you don't want her to put a bunch of weight on you that you can't meet because she needs to find her wholeness in the Lord, and she this other way around. You don't want to be putting too much weight on her being the one who makes your life whole. And so that time to learn about how to be whole on your own may be important. And I think, So.
It sounds like she's looking for safety too.
Yeah.
Because she wants you to be able to be independent. And that, to me, sounds like she wants you to be able to take care of her.
Cool, you guys. Well, we have 1 minute left of the show. I want to thank all you guys for being on. We have a concert tomorrow night. We have a concert.
We do.
Tomorrow night.
Semi-acoustic. It's not full band, though.
Okay.
Concert feels like a rock show.
I don't want people to be like, hey, there was no drums and stuff. So
look, we're going to turn up the volume.
Dude, it's going to rock.
We're going to turn it loud. We got a new beefy sound system in there. We got lights. It's going to be tomorrow at 6 p.m. at Calvary Chapel, Costa Mesa. Lacey, Josh, myself, Chris, we're all going to be up there hanging out. Come enjoy the concert. We're going to have food trucks.
What do you think about getting her out again? Maybe say on I don't know, August 8th we can have her out again maybe?
Let's have her back out and have her actually do your whole testimony.
That'd be sick. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there it is. All right, you guys. Thank you all for joining us. Come down. Come on. Come all. We'll see you guys tomorrow night at Calvary Chapel, Costa Mesa.
This has been Live with Ryan Ries. To connect or find out more about Ryan, click on ryan-reese.com. Check us out next Saturday at 9 p.m. for Live with Ryan Ries.